Welcome to the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast. Today our topic is Light Up Your Kitchen for Real Estate Profits.
Welcome to the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast with Scott Whitwam, your blueprint to financial abundance. Settle in as we explore the mindset and methods for wealth building through real estate.
Welcome back. I'm Scott Whitwam, and I'm glad you joined me today for Light Up Your Kitchen for Real Estate Profits. As you know, I've been an active real estate coach and investor for many years. And over the years, I have found that some decisions we make add value and enhance profits. Other decisions can be very costly and detrimental to the bottom line. Today, we'll be talking about the number one area of a home that will add value to your bottom line. To do that, I've invited back Chris Everett, who has been on the podcast before with his architectural company. And for years as a contractor, he also provided high-end cabinets and kitchen remodels. One of the other businesses he owns is a lighting franchise with Next to Light. Chris, welcome to the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast.
Thanks for having me back. It's a pleasure to be here again.
And sometimes it's really tough to do back-to-backs. It's like, I got to come back to your podcast studio to do a second episode. So I really do appreciate you getting here because I know how it is and how busy you are. I mean, because as we talked last week, you don't only have the architectural firm, you have the lighting company and a bunch of these other things that you're involved in as in the real estate industry. So I want to see if we can get some information out of Chris today about his background with lighting, because I know that it's going to help us on the podcast. So, Chris, can you tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about Next to Light?
Sure. So the lighting experience I have comes from, as I told you last time I was here, I did a lot of stereos, limos, party buses, and we lit those up with RGBW, which is red, green, blue, which is about 16 million colors you can change it to. So had a lot of experience with that. And then also when I was a contractor and still am a contractor, we would light up before I was with Next to Light, I would light up the kitchens just with product I could get on Amazon or online somewhere. So I've had experience in the past with lighting. I've known Gary, who founded Next to Light corporate. I've known him for about 10 years, and we worked on some projects in the past on some showrooms that I've done for cabinet companies. So I had the experience, and then teaming up with Gary, I was able to come on as a franchisee with this company.
Well, I can see. I mean, obviously, you've got a lot of other experience in real estate business. And you've left the cabinetry business. I mean, I know at one time you were in designing, supplying, and installing cabinets all the time. But the relationship, I would imagine, with Gary is probably a good reason. I mean, was that part of the motivation for the lighting thing and not doing the cabinetry thing full time anymore?
Yes, that was definitely part of the reason. Gary is a good friend that I have developed over the years, and the fit is just right with the relationship there, plus my experience with the lighting and what the lighting does for my other businesses and how I can bring it all together as one complete package.
Well, kitchens have become a top entertaining area, in our homes now. I remember when I was growing up with a kid, the kitchen was always off to the other side of the house. It was always away from the entertaining space. But now kitchens have become the center of the entertaining space. So with that kind of in mind, between your architectural experience, your cabinetry experience, your lighting experience, what are the major things that you would recommend to an investor to do in a kitchen that would add value to their property, whether it's an Airbnb type thing or whether it's a fix and flip? What would you recommend in that area?
Well, I would say if you are remodeling the kitchen, don't skimp. Use quality product. You want to update with current finishes, and then light it up, of course. The lighting really brings an element of wow factor to your design. If you're going to remodel the kitchen and you're going to go the extra mile and do the nice cabinets and do the backsplash, you definitely want to light it up. Now, depending whether you have cabinets to the ceiling or you have crown, there's another element you can light above the cabinet as well. So typically, if we can, we light above cabinets, and we'll do that with color. And then we'll do under cabinets, and we'll light that with white. And then we'll do under the toe kick, and that's white as well. And they'll have separate controls. So this really brings a wow factor to, like you said, an entertainment center in the home, where a lot of families and people like to entertain these days.
It can lead to some nighttime ambiance too. I mean,
Yeah, as well.
the backlit colors, the ability, to dim, can create, kind of a space that even when you're not using it, adds to, I guess the livability or the comfortability of the rest of the home. And I like what you mentioned, when you're doing kitchens, don't skimp. How many times have we gone in and taken over a project that another investor started and couldn't finish, and we've had to rip everything out of a kitchen because they did the cheap Home Depot thing, they did the particle board thing, they were going to do it, and what a difference a homeowner gets when they get a cabinet that is got a quality. Now, it doesn't always have to be hardwood, right? You can
definitely.
there's some really good aluminfoil wrapped and some good particle board products that are out now. But when you get a good quality cabinet with a good slow close, and then it's installed properly with the proper lighting, it really adds to the house and adds to the value. So I think that's a good key. Now, is everything in the lighting industry, is it all now gone to LED?
For the most part, yes, unless there's special applications, there's special industry requirements for different types of lighting. But for the most part, yeah, everything is transitioning to LED. And the good thing, yes, it's transitioning to LED, but there's a divide with quality. So there's a lot of product out there that's they're not using quality chips, resistors, diodes, things of that sort. And you have failure, you have line loss, you have power supplies and things like that going out. So it really is important to get a good quality product, good quality chips, diodes, resistors. And the product that we use is called Lifetime Light Cycle. So it's a 70,000 hour chip for our diodes that really give you a lifetime product.
I know when we were remodeling houses, I'll say 6 years ago, and we were transitioning into doing a lot of LED recessed lighting, we had a manufacturer that was really good. Everything we put in, it was good, it lasted. And then whatever happened, their quality changed. And we had a couple of flips that we had done with their lights, and all of a sudden they're going out. These are supposed to be, 50,000 hour LED lights. They should last 20 years, and they didn't make it 2 years. So quality is a big deal. Now, where do they manufacture most of the next two lights at? Are they U.S. based? Are they China based?
So we have several different manufacturers. Yes, some in China. We have one in South Africa, and I believe there's another one out of the Middle East somewhere. I can't remember. Maybe it's India, but I can't remember. But yeah, so most of our product comes from China, and it is Samsung diodes and chips that we're using. So it's top-notch quality product and technology that we're using. So that's why we can stand behind our product, our install, and offer the lifetime warranties. But our product that we get, we specifically get the high-end product because, like I said, you can go on Amazon, you can go, pretty much anywhere and order product online, but you're going to get the cheaper stuff that they offer to the public. This is product that they offer to distributors and businesses like Next to Light. So,
what are some of the benefits? I mean, so let's just say that I'm doing a kitchen, and we put in an island with a waterfall, and we're doing hardwood and slow closed. Bright white seems to be the popular thing again. It goes in cycles. I remember when everything had to be espresso, and now it's all back to bright white. But what are some of the benefits of LED lighting packages for kitchens?
The ambiance, I would say, number one. You can really light up a space and really make it appeasing to the eye. If you do a lot of entertaining, that would be good for that. Also, you can change colors and decorate for holidays. So Christmas, you can do red and green, and the other holidays you can do whatever colors are associated with those. So that's one point. And also, not only in your kitchen, but in the rest of your house, you can create an ambiance if you have floating shelves, a fireplace, TV walls. Bathrooms, we like to do occupancy sensors with lighting under the toe kick. So when you walk in the bathroom, you get a low light where you can see. If it's the middle of the night, you're not turning on a bright light. Come in, you're blinded. You walk in, it turns on. You walk out, it shuts off after a few minutes. So there's some really cool things like that really help improve your lifestyle. So.
Talk a little bit about the benefits with regards to heat production and energy draw with LED.
Oh, it's very low. There's very little heat production on the LED chips and diodes. They do produce a little bit of warmth, but it's very minimal. The power supplies may get a little warm, but they're usually tucked in a cabinet or hidden away somewhere, but nothing that really is going to create an issue anywhere, just normal.
And generally, you're not having circuit issues with LED lighting like you used to with some of the other, incandescents and stuff.
Definitely not. But if we are running a lot of LED, depending on where the power hubs are located. Now, this is why I say you can't just go in and throw lights wherever you want, because we actually engineer this. So we look at, okay, how many linear feet of LED, what type of LED it is, how many watts per foot it is. All right, what's going to supply that and control that? How many power supplies and controls do we need for that system? How many zones are there? So there's really a lot to look at when you're designing a system. Now, our big power supplies get to like 300 watts. So that's a big one. That runs about 130, 150 linear feet of LED strip, let's say. So typically 300 watts, that's your biggest one. Well, you would have to have on a 15 amp circuit, you'd need about 4 of those to deplete that circuit. So really it would take a lot to overload a 15 amp circuit, which is typical in most houses.
In most residential.
But if we're involved in design, we look at that and say, hey, we're going to need a dedicated 20 amp circuit here to be the power hub for all of these power supplies. So that all comes into play when we're looking at the project and designing it.
Now, most of the we'll just say room light, the recessed surface mount or recessed LED type stuff, most of them now are color selectable. How does that color selectable play with regards to colorization in the kitchen? For instance, if you've got an espresso cabinet, is there a certain color spectrum that would be better to make it look better if you've got a white cabinet? Because I know some people are like, well, no, I want 4200, I want 4000, I want 36, I want 56. Because obviously, when you get in the 5000s, you get closer to sunlight, and you get away from that, you start getting closer to the yellow incandescents. But what do you know from your experience and expertise kind of in that area?
Okay, so a couple things there. So we have a separation between flush mount lights and LED strip lighting. Yes, the flush mount lights you put in ceilings or whatever, we have gimbal lights, which are directional, and you can point them against walls, art, things like that. Those are kind of separate than the LED, but it's all about the Kelvin. It's always all about the Kelvin. So there's studies done on different kelvins of lights. Now, in industrial warehouses and offices, they like the light to be around 445, 5K. And what that does is it keeps you on edge. It's a frequency of light that keeps you uneasy, I guess is the word they use. And it's to keep you motivated and working. Now, in your home, you don't want to go over 35K. So you want a comfortable, relaxing environment. So 3 to 35K is the range you want to be. And yes, all the lights are selectable. They're dimmable. So you have a pretty wide range of control over our lighting systems.
Well, if somebody wanted to get hold of you, how would they reach you? What's the best way to get hold of Chris at Next 2 Light?
You can call me on my phone, text me on my phone, 480-217-7610.
Can you give that number again?
Yes, that's 480-217-7610. And you could always go to next2light.com and reach out to one of us there. You can also email me personally at alltechnique, that's ALLTECHNIQUE @gmail.com.
Well, that's a great opportunity for people, because when they contact you about this, they're not just getting a light salesman. They're getting somebody who actually understands design, understands kitchens, because as a contractor and a kitchen installer and a cabinet supplier, I mean, you've got the whole package, and you really can help investors kind of pick things in that would be, I guess, wanted by either a higher end tenant, somebody looking for something that looks really good, or for fix and flip guys who want to make the wow factor in their remodeled homes come alive. You can help with all of that, with the design and all of that. So I recommend reaching out to Chris, getting hold of him, getting some more information from him about that. Unfortunately, Chris, that's all the time we have for this episode. You know how quickly this time flies by?
Huh?
I know. It's just like it goes. We've been talking with Chris Everett with Next Two Lights. You've been listening to the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast, and we've come to the end of today's episode. For a limited time, as a podcast listener, you can get a copy of my new book, No Money Down, Your Path to Real Estate Investing, with no or low down payment, absolutely free. Just by using the QR code available if you're watching this on the video version of the podcast, or by going to www.nomoneydowncoach.com. That's www.nomoneydowncoach.com. I want to thank you for taking time to listen. And if you found this episode, real estate investing and lighting for kitchens, helpful, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. You can always find the Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. This is Scott Whitwam. Be sure to join me next time on the episode of Whitwam Wealth Real Estate Podcast, where we're building wealth through real estate.